All right, all right. Do you guys see me? Do you see me? See if I minimize it. What happens? Okay, I'm behind it. I'm not going to minimize it. It seems to turn off when you minimize it. But oh, let me see what happens with that if I do that. I'll restart it if it doesn't work. Hmm. See if this works this way. Okay, I like that actually. Hopefully that's still working. Yeah. Oh, I even can you can even can see the time. Danny, you're learning stuff differently. You son of a gun. Good. But anyways, is it allowing me to what I put up here? Let's start with here before we go there. So right here, even though I know I got this side and this side, I don't care. I can see my time of my recording, which is just barely a minute, and this is actually better. So it's a good thing. Maybe I'm still learning stuff, and hey, I'm not the most tech savvy guy. I'm a 62, believe it or not. Some people don't feel I look a young 62. When I tell them 62, they're like, "You look 50." Uh, and those of you saying no, you don't let them lie to you. I get it, but I'm 62. Not the most techie person, as you can see by me fumbling screen shares on one and two. One will not have the screen. Hopefully, this comes up the way it should. So this is my two redone because it wasn't shared on the first one. So, as you can see, we're talking about the fires of one and the dews, which is the direct energy weapons, which we will get into again on this one since we're going to share the screen. And then threes comes out in a few days. Does have the screen shares. I just checked it. Were there. Why one and two? I said it before. I don't get it, but what I found out about here, I do like this format a little bit better that I was able to share because I can see that my time now is right in front of me with my 30 limit. I can see it. So let's get into this a little bit more. So you can see these fires, the damage done in LA. It's reported that the amount of acreage and land and structures destroyed, land destruction, is the size of France, is what I've heard. Been reported. The size, one more time, of France is what I've heard. Crazy. Freaking crazy to even have that type of thing being like that. And we know this happened in Maui, and it was a land grab, right? I mean, they were all out for the land. Um, Many said for the cities, making the smart cities. It makes sense to me in a sense. It makes sense to me in a sense because these are happening. As much as Hawaii is beautiful, it's very liberal, very democratic, and the Democrats went and stabbed you in the back. California, you voted these sapsuckers in, they stabbed you in the back. They destroyed your land. All you wooders, Hollywood, even the Hollywood movie stars, you've been doing their puppeteer work for a long time. You've been their puppets. You've been backing everything they tell you to do because you do. That's what happens when you sign the contract. Like I had said before, that when you understand selling your soul to the devil, there really isn't no two-horned beast out there called the devil that you sold your soul to. The reality is by taking all the money grab that by signing the contract or stealing you from many music companies and stuff, steal from these musicians, rappers, and everybody in the music industry where they don't get the good deal. They actually end up paying some, which has happened historically. That's a well-known fact. But guess what? You signed off everything because you sold your freedom. Again, you sold your freedoms. One more time, you sold your freedoms. That's selling your soul to the devil because you may not feel politically. You might not feel certain ways that's being promoted on your TV set and through the media and through your political standings. And maybe it's not your own thoughts, but because you signed the contract, you got to do what your masters say do. You got to bow when they say bow. You can't be free in your soul, even though you have this bucket of money, maybe, or you're millionaire, multimillionaires making, these athletes, and some of these folks are making 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80 million dollars a year for being puppets by giving us, and I'm talking to also all these athletes because that's just as much staged as it's ever been. I quit watching sports a couple of years ago, and I was an avid sports fan, and avid every aspect of sports. I watched, I coached, I played, and I coached for a number of years, which I've mentioned multiple times here. And a few years ago, I started realizing by learning gematria that the stuff was phony as a $3 bill, that the outcome was predictable by the numbers, which ended up being very, very true. It's called gematria. It's a coded, it's even in Manly P. Hall's book about how gematria was used for encoding. And it's connected to the reality. When you can encode by the numbers of reality, that's when you start realizing that maybe where I'm living at is not what they're telling me I'm living at. Because if it can be numerized and numeralized into a reality, means there's a structure of encoding with the numbers. I'm telling you, it's right there. So when you start seeing certain aspects of stuff, and I started learning gematria, and I really learned it to the COVID season because I started seeing the numbers in COVID were the certain number. And Gavin Newsom was a very impactful in these numbers too when he said in 56% of the people have COVID, and the rest will have it in 8 weeks. And I realized 8 weeks is 56 too. And so in gematria, the COVID vaccine was 56. Toilet paper was 56. All these aspects connected to everything that happened during that scene was connected. The Vatican, the Jesuits, 56. And I started seeing that. And then I started seeing the sports aspect. And I'm going to be honest, there's 2 seasons. I laid money down, betted through gematria. And there's 2 seasons. I'm not doing it this year, but 2 seasons ago, back-to-back seasons, I was undefeated in the playoffs according to gematria. I know people who are totally decoders in gematria that quit their job during COVID when they're threatened with the jabba jab and didn't want to take it because they didn't go for the dog shit show, the dog and pony show. And guess what they did? They ended up being decoders on making sports betting and hitting 75, 85 to 85%. It's that high because it's encoded. Then they started double coding on certain situations, but I had known that my two favorite teams in two different sports, football and basketball, right, that were just played this past seasons. Was a Dodger fan and a Celtic fan. They both won championships. Guess what? I don't buy shirts because I know it's baloney, baloney, and baloney. And those are my two favorite teams that I would be so much happy for 3, 4, 5 years ago that they won championships. But now I know it's a dog and pony show. It's scripted. And what I'm saying is it's the same thing here. This was definitely, like we talk about planned. You got all the aspects of the do, which we talked about in the last. I'm going to be able to share the do here now that you can see it, which this is a remake of 2. Remember the shirt I wore in 1? It was in the original one. So when you watch 3, you'll see that shirt that I wore in the original 1, but I had to record when I found out it didn't work. And that's my fault, that the fact I should have edited and looked at it after when I started editing, because I edited right away and wanted to get the 3 edits done. So I just put the lead in and the ending parts into my video and naming them and then getting them downloaded when I should have looked depth in to see that I would have found out that the videos were not sharing. So enough of my talk, and let's get into the story. So LA fires, like I said, I've heard it's equal to France, the size of France. Look at this. 23,000 acres in Los Angeles is 59% contained, so it's not contained. Eaton Fire, mostly contained, 87 contained, 14,000 near Pasadena. Pasadena is not Hollywood, folks. It's not a bunch of rich people, because I've heard a bunch of you guys out there saying, well, it's the rich. They can rebound for it. That's not, people are out there doing it that even I know and family members, and that's just not that's not a loving, high conscious energy. My heart does go out to some of these Hollywooders, but I hope they get the idea that you were played, you were dogged by your masters, and that you wake up from it. And hopefully, because they definitely turned the tables on you, unless this is some kind of joke that you're in on too. But we see that, but it also is leading to it to keep going, because now they're politically switching to the other side that's being inaugurated, because this is not a Sunday. Since this was not the Sunday original taping, the inauguration's happening today, and I got people thinking that something's going to happen from the left to mess up the inauguration today. If they did, it's planned and it's part of the hijinks. It's nothing new. And thinking that somebody is going out and predicting it that's part of the system, like an Alex Jones, is just controlled opposition, just telling you the plan. not predicting shit. Telling you the plan, not predicting shit. That's just the reality of it. I just had to be real honest with this. But anyways, Sunday, dire fire warnings calling Mondays as today dangerous situation. So they've anteed up my area now with high winds, which I live in OC. I don't live in LA County. I was good 30 to 40 miles away and even farther because those went more north, which was more away. Those fires, is it's destroyed the Palisades. It's even went into Malibu and it's even went into Ventura County. Now you're talking 60, 70 miles away going that far. But the winds, we're on a wind alert the next few days here. They're talking about winds to 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in the high mountains. I don't live in the high mountains, but they're talking about it being 30 or 40 here. So if they were to hit a dew and spark it up over here, we go in flames too. It's just the facts of the way. As we seen, and we will go over Tesla's creation. Tesla, in the last video, I didn't share, but I told you that he said this was actually part of the situation and how this works. So you can see Los Angeles, Ventura, Monday afternoon, Tuesday, humidity levels plummet, meaning if humidity levels plummet, meaning it's dry. LA fires expose a web of government weak by design, which is what's done here. In all these sanctuary cities, LA's, all these big cities are all been blue for anywhere from 50 to 65 years with all their ideology and all their stuff. And again, I'm not saying one side's right and the other side's the side to run to. They're the same relation to each other. They're the other side of the same nickel, heads and tails. Actually, they're all related. When you do when you realize that these are all related to the same king, which I had mentioned in video one, was a girl that was only 11, 12 years old. She had to do some kind of a thing in her class, a project that was asked for to be creative, and she deep dived in all the presidencies, and her outcome was they were all related except one. That's right, they're all related except one, and Obama's not the one that isn't. You people, nope. It's just like when Meghan Markle married Prince. I can't even remember his name, whoever he is, blue blood, red haired prince. Meghan Markle, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, look at that! They married a woman with another race, ascent, with black blood in her." And the first thing I said to somebody I knew and to myself was, "This is not what you think it is." And they go, "What do you mean? It's obvious." I go, "I guarantee that if you do a little homework, you'll find out that Meghan Markle has some blue blood in her." And gosh darn, if we didn't find out not very long after that, it was her daddy. And I go, they don't sway from their ideologies. They may make you think that because of their hijinks that they're on your team. This is controlled opposition, even the media does, and all these paid folks. And I went off on the first video about even them who say they're in a spiritual community, but they're really just plants. Yeah, they're really just plants. You got to be, that's why discernment's needed. Now, this is where I live. Expected, now this is the winds. I'm kind of looking down to see if it mentions us. It really talks about Ventura. We haven't had any here, but we're supposedly on wind watch now. And I will stop. Let's go to Tesla. This is Tesla. And right here with Mr. Tesla, you can see this. We're going to go down. And we're going to read this. Well, this is more pictures than the other one. I like it. Weapons, this is more actually his... Sorry about that. Does that call? I hit that thing and then my light changed up here. I'm moving something so I can go up here. And then let me hit this to get some more light on this. I think I accidentally hit it out. Well, anyways. There we go. I hope that's bright enough for you. Is it bright enough for you? I can't keep fumbling this. I got to get to this. But anyways, so this was an interview. This is what not they showed us on the other. So I kind of did a deeper dive to bring some better information. I found this actually from the Insta. It's actually Tesla's own search. People have Tesla's information and a website that keeps actually showing. Scientists in the interview tells of the apparatus he says could kill without trace. Nikola Tesla's father of modern methods of generation distributing magnetic energy, who was 78 years old at this time when this was yesterday. It says announced a new invention. So this was 91 years ago. He was 78. So this was a while ago. He considered the most important 700. I wish this would go more bigger. Maybe I should make it bigger, but I don't really want to. Go around the distance of 10,000 airplanes, a distance of 250 miles, and this is 91 years ago. I'm sure that 250 is not the same, and maybe it is. It's being done here in Maui, and this even involves a hurricane. They can control weather. Control is something that's been around for the since the 40s, if not the 30s. Death beam. He calls it death beam. It reminds me so much of Star Wars, of the Death Star, because that's what it would be. That's where they got it from. That movie Star Wars isn't some kind of great invention. You guys think it's wowza, wowza, wowza. It's telling you the truth. It's part of the wood. The death beam Tesla will operate silently, be effectively in distance, as far as the telescope could see an object on the ground. It's undetectable. An army of a million dead, annihilated in an instance. That's a million, right? Yeah. Annihilated in an instance under the most powerful microscope, almost like taking a microscope like we used to do in some of our childhood experiences. We get a microphone in the sun and get an ant and get that beam through the through the kaleidoscope, or through the what is it called, the magnifying glass, shoots a beam prism, and it dissolves the ant, fries the ant. That would be this. This is what this really is. The same concept, just magnified a million times, 100,000 times, whatever it might be. I might not exactly, just over and over. In the operation, Dr. Tesla said his latest invention would make impossible the death beam. He asserted he only wanted to use it. He talked about only wanting to use it in invasions, but not being a tactful thing. He didn't want to hurt. He was about free energy, when we understand Mr. Tesla, right? He explained he could generate it only from a stationary and movable power plant stationed in the manner of old time for various strategic distances to protect your borders, really. An exception, however, it must be made that the battleships, and then I'm sorry, I'm not giving you the rest of this. Maybe it's over here. No, it's the same thing, huh? The best. I'd have to open up the whole thing. I guess I could. Let's do this. Let's open up the whole thing. And you could read it on your own if you want to find it. The net result of the latter, Tesla said, to establish supremacy of the battleships over the airplane, to make the nation with the largest, best equipment, battleship supreme over the sea. Let's just have war, war, war. The production of the death beam, Tesla said, involves 4 new inventions. He goes on into what it does. X-rays, and we have Operation Blue Beam, we have Operation Paperclip, all these operations to make this military-based thing. And if you want to, we can go right here and tell you what this ended up being. This ended up being something different. This ended up being what it is: direct energy weapons. Yes, this is what Tesla was talking about in 1934. The capability to make. Tesla was not it was more making it like a blockage or like a force field to protect you more than attacking with it. Well, guess what? They're not. They do attack with it, but they're attacking Moas with it, the people that live here. That's why you have a second constitutional right, right? Your second constitutional right is what? Think about it. What is your constitutional right about? Your second constitutional right was about you having guns, so anybody outside, but also if your government messes up inside, to protect yourself. So here's the do's. Target objects, pinpoint accuracy, speed and light. These lasers can engage targets, pinpoint accuracy at the speed of light. Hear me? Speed of light. They can be affected by atmospheric conditions like rain and fog. These weapons deliver short duration of pulses, microwaving you, causing fires. These weapons are also laser forms through conductive laser plasma, high radio frequency weapons, plasma thermal injuries, electromagnetic shock wave. They're using energy for destruction, not unity. Of course, and there it is. It's there. When people say, "Oh, you're just saying that," that's conspiracy theories. And then these people don't do any homework, like I said, won't look at anything themselves, still sipping their tea, watching their favorite sporting event, drinking beer, and not knowing they're gamed because your sporting event is as fraudulent as a $3 bill. It's the whole world's stage. That's why even the NFL's commercials will tell you for entertainment use only, because it's all the tainment, or like I call it, entertainment, because it taints your mental, it taints your frequencies. Now, if you watch it to get the news from some movies and some series, they will tell you the truth. But most people think it's all just entertainment, and not, they think they think when you watch The Matrix, it's all about, oh, it's good entertainment. No, The Matrix, I'm going to tell you, is a documentary in the world you really live in, but most just don't get it. The do's. The do's. So it talks about Australia having the most powerful portable high energy laser. And goes into the EMF weapons affect humans. Of course they do. They can lie all they want. I don't buy it. Uh, Government accountability offices kills me. Government with accountability, when all they do is blame the people for overpopulation and all the stuff they blame the people, there is no accountability of the government. That's all fraudulent. The mints are fraud. Yeah, it's. Why I'm saying this is it's obvious they're not on your side. Either side. They're both hands are in the same pocket. They're all related. They're all cousins times remove 26. Don't matter if they're black. They don't matter if they're white. They're related. They have bloodline relations together. Just like I said, Meghan Markle was a blue blood. Her dad was related to the blue bloods. That's why he married her, because he wouldn't marry her unless she was bloodline, because that's how they do. The blue bloods marry their family members. Facts. That's what they do. And then when we say regular people do it, they call them hillbillies, even though these so-called blue-blood elites do what the hillbillies do, or what they say the hillbillies do. So really the blue bloods are just a glorified hillbilly. Come on now. I'm going to talk the talk today, because this is facts. Don't honor them. Don't expect anything from them. I'm telling you, you need to go within, find out, quit worshiping these gods outside of you. You're giving away your energy when you do. Even with the state of being a worshiper, is worship. The word worship that you have in these churches and these religious sects is from the word worship now, because they brought that religion to you on a warship. Facts. And then you're over here worshiping something outside of you. Stop. I'm telling you, unless you're going to do it, you're going to do it. I can't make you stop, but you don't say when you wake up one day, you say, man, if you still continue to do it, yeah, man, D-Boy knew what he was talking about. Yeah. I used to be one of the biggest in the Pentecostal church, people pushing praise and worship teams and worship. It's worship. In etymology, worship and worship are the same darn thing. Nothing differs from them. Nothing does. Give your energy to the God through you, in you, that you're connected to. It's all, the kingdom is within you. Buddha said the powers are within you. If you want to be Buddha, the enlightenment's within you. If you want to be Krishna, your secret place is within you. Your true temple is within you. Even the little bit of truth you get out of this, until they were indoctrinated by the controllers, was always the truth. So the esoteric meaning was that God is within you, and when you go within, you'll find the awakening. You'll find the true universe. Well, they have us look at the universe. No, it's within you. You're projecting it outside you, because I went over this. We're projectors, so they're pushing the agendas on us, and actually the attacks within. And then they're feeding you to be a Republican or a Democrat. And the Democrats just took their biggest crackbacks within the last 4 years of stupidity and ignorance, and we got tired of them. And if you live in states like I do that are like California, you got tired of them. But the reality is the other side. They'll run you into the arms of the other lover, being the red, but they're not your lover. They're your deceiver, and they'll put the knife right in your back just as well as the other side just did the last 65 years. If you're living in big cities, which are all Democratic, and you look at every big city after this fact of what these folks do, if you look at every major big city, it's now a shithole. It's a third world country. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me when I'm lying, because you can't. It's not. San Francisco's messed up. Los Angeles messed up. Detroit's messed up. All of them are messed up that come under that Democratic rule of the last 65 years pushing these agendas. They're all shitholes now. San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento in California. Yeah. Detroit. Chicago, shithole. Look at what's happening in Chicago for the last 2 years. The people in Chicago in the hood are now angry and mad at the Democrats for allowing and opening the border, and all them border folks in Illinois went into their city and started destroying them and taking from them that said this was our hood, this is where we lived. It's there. So it ran everybody to the other side, to the savior side, the right side, which seems to be the common sense side. But what happens when the common sense side doesn't become common sense again? Be aware, they're not your saviors. We're not looking for a scapegoat when you awake. Nobody's coming to save you. You are empowered to do that for yourself, but there's a routine that you must keep, and that's giving your attention, which means antennas, to the within, and don't be distracted by all this stuff without you, but be aware to discern so you don't fall for bananas in the tailpipes and okey dokes. They're famous for okey dokes, but when you always know it's the same banana and the same tailpipe, you should become aware of it. Yeah. And remember, we have a president now inaugurated, maybe already. I don't know. I'm not watching the inauguration, even though I know some people are sitting up there watching it to think that their savior's coming in, but I'm not. They're MAGA. MAGA's the fifth degree of the Satanic Church. Facts. We did videos here. You pull up the website of the Satanic Church and tell me what the fifth degree is, because it's right in front of your face. It's called MAGA. MAGA means magi, means magician. If you go into any language, it was all negative coming with it, that they'll put spells on you. Yeah, go to Spanish, go to other languages, what MAGA means in their language. Nothing productive and proper in it that brings unity, oneness, and is good and wholesome. It all tells you it's deceiving. And both sides are the same side of are just the same coin with the other side heads and tails, and they're all related. So they're using these direct weapon energies, not just on your enemies outside of you, which is their enemies, wanting you to be against their enemies, when we know the people of these countries don't have power, just like we don't have power. It ain't about the people. I meet all kinds of races and different people from other places, and guess what? Most of them are decent people. They don't run their government either. That's just facts. So he talks about the DEW's capability in the story because he created it. This is the Tesla Tower. I will speak on this more. I believe on 3. I will bring the Tesla Tower, what looks like, and how what he did with this Tesla Tower, and how he was wanted to give free energy to everybody at no cost. But of course, the ones who want to cost you, they don't go for it. So I'm at the 29-minute with only like 55 seconds left on this video. So I'm going to stop it now. And you guys have a wonderful, great day.